Hey everyone, Dogen here, and today I'm joined by my friend Retro Gaijin, who is a professional streamer on Twitch, and he also lives in Japan. So I wanted to make a video with him. In past videos, I've talked about kind of doing alternative work in Japan, kind of like creative work, being a YouTuber in Japan, that kind of thing. But I've never really gone into detail about streaming, live streaming specifically, and more specifically Twitch and kind of game streaming. And that's because that's not my field of expertise, but that is Retro's field of expertise. So I thought we'd maybe take like an hour and a half and try and learn as much as we can from him, such that maybe some of you guys watching this that are in high school right now, maybe you're in college right now, and you want to move to Japan, potentially we can save you time and energy if you are interested in streaming. So let's just get started. I'm just going to call you Retro throughout this whole thing. I don't know. We didn't talk about anonymity and like your real name and stuff. So that's cool, right?
That's okay, Dogen.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. So can you give maybe just like a very, very basic self-introduction?
Yeah, I'm Retro Gaijin. I'm a live streamer in Japan. I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now. I've been living in Japan for about 6 or 7 years, and I currently live in Okinawa.
Okay,
but yeah, I play video games for a living, and I also do like sometimes we'll go outside and do live streaming like around Japan to show people like Tokyo or just fun places that they want to see.
Okay. And sorry, did you mention your age?
I'm 31.
Okay. I'm
How old are you, Dogen?
3.
Ooh, good age.
I don't think I've ever talked about that before. I guess all you guys know now. Anyway, I'd like to get kind of your backstory, and we'll kind of build from there. So, have you always been interested in Japan? Why did you end up in Japan?
I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in college, like a lot of people. I think I was like a psychology major or something, which I think that just means I don't know what I want to do, right? So I had to take a foreign language as part of my psychology major, and I randomly took Japanese because I was like, oh, I like video games, and I like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. These are all cool things, right? And that's all from Japan. So I started studying it, and I found out, I was like, wow, this is the only thing I like to study. Like,
yeah, I was the same way in college, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I continued studying and eventually changed my major to Asian Studies was my final major. And I remember in college, I took a trip to like Nagoya and Hiroshima and Kyoto, like a 1 month travel abroad, study abroad program. And we did 2 different homestays, so I got to stay with some Japanese families. And while I was there, I was just like, this is amazing. Like, this place is so cool. Just 1 month, and I fell in love. I was like, I got to come back here eventually. So after college, I did some odd jobs here and there. I was working at a company called TQL, which is like it's like I'm cold calling like trucks, and I'm like a freight broker, logistics and stuff. And that was my first like big boy job. It was like a salary job outside of off of college, right? And I hated it, dude. I hated it so much. It was the worst thing ever.
I was the exact same way at my old job at APU. I was like, I hate it.
Yeah, man. I was like, is this what being an adult is? Like, this sucks, man. There's got to be something else.
Yeah.
So after like 8 months of that, I was like, you know what? I'll take a pay cut. I'm just not happy. So I was like waiting tables after that for a bit in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is where I grew up.
Yep.
And while waiting tables, I was like, you know what? That Japan thing was cool. I should probably get back on that. This is like a year, or maybe a year or 2 after I graduated. So I started firing off, I use a website, gaijinpot.com.
Yeah.
So I used Gaijin Pot, and I found Eikaiwa. I fired off like 5 different applications to all these companies. I had like 5 different interviews. I remember I was getting shut down for like one after the other. It's like, wow, dang. And so I was kind of just
these
like, yeah,
interviews,
whatever.
these interviews, did you have to fly out to Japan to partake in them?
No, these were all on Skype.
Oh, okay.
So they were all Skype interviews for Eikaiwa's English conversation schools. I remember vividly, I was just like, whatever. I'm going to send it. And I had I went to the bar next door and I had like a giant beer. I was like, I know I got this interview in like 2 hours, but whatever. They've all been kind of bunk so far. So I remember having a tall glass of beer. And then when I did the interview, I wasn't wearing any pants. And that was the one that I got the job, dude. They hired me. It was so funny.
So where did they place you in Japan?
Yeah, so like you can like never choose where you want to go, right? Yeah. So they put me. They're like, you're gonna go to Kamogawa Chiba, and I was like, what's that? I was like, I don't really care. It's a way in, I'll figure it out from there. So they put me in Kamogawa Chiba, and I ended up staying in Kamogawa for about 4 years.
Okay.
Before I moved to Tokyo for a year, and then now I'm in Okinawa for about a year and a half.
Okay, sweet. And obviously, as we said at the get-go, you do live streaming video games on Twitch. Have video games always been a major part of your life?
Oh, yeah, bro. Dude, I got a Zelda tattoo. You want to see it? Check this out.
Okay.
Yo.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, no, I like games, right? Like I've played games my whole life. Like Ocarina of Time is probably my favorite game, and played like World of Warcraft and stuff growing up as well. So big gamer over here.
So I think a lot of people on my channel know about this. I was really into video games until about the middle of high school or the end of high school, and then I started getting really into like martial arts tricking, and then kind of Japanese in college. But because I was into martial arts tricking, and because everyone that did tricking needed a place to upload their videos, I knew about YouTube, and I started uploading to YouTube immediately as soon as YouTube came out. But I didn't really know about Twitch and that people were like making money on it, or even really what it was, until significantly after it had become kind of an established thing. So were you on Twitch from the get-go, or?
Nah, dude. Yeah, I was the same way. I didn't know anything about Twitch before I started streaming on Twitch, which is not what most people do. A lot of people like watch a favorite Twitch streamer and they're like, this guy, like Man vs. Game is a really good example. Like he has inspired a lot of people to stream and start their career because he was one of the OGs on Twitch, live streaming. And a lot of the OGs are still around. But I didn't know anything about Twitch. And I guess we can go into like how I started on Twitch.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say something stupid like, obviously, the world is in a very kind of precarious situation right now with COVID. And a lot of people, because of this, a lot of people are kind of questioning the stability of a normal job, so to speak. So I hope that a lot of people can learn from this next segment about how you kind of started getting into it and growing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to like tell people or even recommend to start streaming on Twitch because it's such a shot in the dark, dude. Like becoming successful on the internet is like, it's like 99. We're so lucky, dude. Like what you and me do, we are so lucky. I know people who've been like grinding for years, and it's just not going anywhere. And it's just like it's almost like luck. I feel like a lot of it's luck.
Interesting. But, I kind of come from a different philosophy. I had a friend, this guy named Andrew. He also lives in Japan and works in Japan, and I was doing YouTuber as well. One of the things that he said to me that I've always believed is if you work hard and you keep at it, it's not a matter of whether or not you'll succeed, it's when you'll succeed. So I kind of strongly believe that if you put in the time and effort, and it's something that another guy, Juji Mufu. Do you know who Juji Mufu is on Instagram? Is like the big bodybuilder guy that does like the splits in the chairs.
I gotta check that guy out. He sounds
anyway,
cool.
he used to be a trickster as well, so he did what I was doing. But one of the things that he used to say and that he recommended is the key to kind of success in whatever field isn't just hard work. It's got to be something that you're also competent at. So he knew that he was really good at training, and so I had to give up tricking basically because I was never really that good at it, and I got injured. And
Shizumagarimasu.
Okay, dozo.
Tricking te nani? Nan desu ka? What's tricking?
Okay, so tricking is basically it's just a combination of like martial arts, gymnastics, breakdancing, and acrobatics.
Wow. Do you fight people with this form of
No,
exercise?
it's kind of like the floor element of gymnastics where you just like go to like a grassy field or whatever and just do all sorts of fun flips.
Huh, cool. Sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Anyway, I was kind of okay at that, but I learned fairly quickly that I was never going to be able to make money off of it because I didn't have potential to get really good at it.
Okay. Yeah, that's like a really positive philosophy to have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like a defeatist or anything, but it's just I've seen people on Twitch like really grind. Like you say, if you just do it for, it's not a matter of... Right. So it's just I've seen people try that route on Twitch, and I've seen a lot of broken hearts. I've seen a lot of like
interesting
disappointment from people because Twitch is an interesting beast. It's not YouTube. Like you can't just like get viral overnight unless you're like a Dr. Disrespect or something, and you really have something super unique to offer because there's like a ton of gamer.
It's a saturated
market. I hate to say, there's a lot of white bearded gamer guys that want to get big on Twitch, right?
Right.
Or like a dime a dozen. So it's like what makes you unique. You have to like find your own niche as well is a big thing on Twitch.
Right.
But yeah, I guess to get into the beginning of it.
Yeah. Let's go back to there.
Sure. So I was in Kamogawa, Chiba, and my girlfriend at the time went to Canada for like 2 weeks or something, and I was super bored, and I didn't know what Twitch was. Super Smash Brothers came out. So you know Smash, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Super Smash Brothers came out on the 3DS early in Japan. The demo for the newest Super Smash Brothers game came out only in Japan early, and you had to have a Japanese 3DS to download this demo.
Okay.
So people overseas and who weren't here didn't have access to it, and I love Smash. I was like, I was kind of like playing around with maybe doing some YouTube stuff, and I was bored, and it was like 2 weeks of doing nothing. I was like, this demo came out. What are my options here to like broadcast this to the world or show people? And I have like exclusive access to it, right? For the most part.
So you wanted to show people rather than just play it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I wanted to start like a YouTube or Twitch or something. I think I wanted to do YouTube at first, but I just I was like, so what are the options here? And I'm googling around. There's like a website called Twitch. It's like I think I've heard of that. They do like League of Legends tournaments or something. I don't know anything about this website, but okay, I'll make an account and I will stream it. I just pointed this camera, not this good one that I have now, just a crappy my laptop camera. It was like plugged into my laptop. Turned my laptop around and hugged it from behind and put it down so it could look at the 3DS. and I would go live hugging my laptop from behind and playing.
Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. And I think I had I forget the first day. It was either 60 viewers or 600, but it was like way too many viewers for somebody who doesn't stream, right?
So it was mostly
because
about
it was
the
a lot
game
of hype
then.
for Smash, man. It was like
Okay,
people who love Smash, like myself. It's like, oh my god, it's the newest game. It's our first look at it. Like, it was going to come out on the 3DS first, and then the Wii U later, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm playing, and I'm talking about it, how it feels, and all this stuff. And I did that for like a day or two, 3 days, and then I remember getting like my first like $40 donation, and I was elated. Dude, it blew my mind. I'll never forget that moment. I was like, did I just make money playing a video game? What the hell was that? And it went into PayPal and all that stuff. And I was still teaching English at the time, So I was just being an English teacher here. I was like, is there something here maybe? Like, maybe I'll try this. So I asked my father if I could buy like a better microphone. And he said yes. And so he allowed me to use his credit card to like buy a microphone from Amazon. Because like I don't have my own Japanese credit card at that point. I'm just like a new Gaijin in Japan.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So I invested and just started like slowly building it up from nothing. Like every day we'd have like regulars coming back, and I remember we hit like 100 viewers the first time I took a picture. I was like, yay, that's awesome, like 100 people, heck yeah, man, this is sick. And then the followers just kept going up, and I kept teaching English, and I just kind of grinded on it for a bit. Eventually it came out on the Wii U, and I bought an Elgato to stream from, which I think you got an Elgato as well, right?
Yeah. I don't have it anymore. I sold it off to one of my friends because I found a different way to capture. But up until you got the Elgato, were you using an external camera and pointing that at the TV or your laptop, or how were you capturing up until that point then?
Yeah, it was on my laptop. It was just the built-in camera on my laptop.
So you kept doing that for like
I did that for months. I remember I had to like,
man.
I think I still have burn marks because the fan on it would get so hot, but I'm holding it so tight, and like I had to like wear a protective like wrist thing here because the fan was like burning my arm, and I was like streaming.
That's dedication, man.
Yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and then after that I was like, man, I'm ending my streams with like 200, sometimes 300 people, and I don't have anybody to host. I didn't have any friends on the website.
Yeah.
And so I started like looking around. I think the first streamer I found, his name is Tiger Rider, and he's my friend to this day. Like I just followed him, and he was also kind of a budding streamer, and I really liked his vibe. He introduced me to another guy named Alaskan Savage, and like, dude, 5 years later, I'm at Alaskan Savage's wedding at TwitchCon as groomsman. Like in the wedding, and Tiger Rider is officiating the wedding. He's like the guy up the front, right? That's
a great story, dude.
It's crazy. And it's just like this happened because of Twitch and just like the connections that we made, like right at the beginning there. It's pretty cool.
Wow, interesting. So, it sounds like you feel like one of the reasons that you're in your spot. The spot that you're in right now where you can do this full time is because you got off to a good start with the momentum of that game. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, dude, for sure. Okay. And I think I made some smart moves along the way because like I knew like the hype for Smash was really good. I think I got my first like 20 or 30,000 followers just grinding Super Smash Brothers. But I knew once the big boys got into the fray and like the competitive like meta was set, that I couldn't hang. And I knew at some point some really good players at Smash, like the professionals, people who do it for a living, would catch on to Twitch and start streaming, and then I would get, knocked down the viewer list. Because when you're like near the top, it's easier to be discovered. Right? If you have a higher viewership, then you're near the top when people go to the directory. So I knew that was coming, and so I prepared for it. I was like, okay, we're going to try doing this like variety gaming, right? So like every Monday we had like Retro Mondays, and my name is Retro Gaijin, so I was like, oh, that's good. Like that kind of fits. So every Monday we'd play like old Super Nintendo games and stuff to kind of get people used to different content other than Smash. I also did some H1Z1 Battle Royales. Okay. It's like this is like way early on in the BR scene. So I would like switch like one day Smash, one day H1Z1, one day Smash, one day H1Z1, and then like Retro Mondays, and just like gradually kind of diversifying the community.
Yeah, smart.
The one thing I really wanted to happen was like I want people to come for the character Retro Gaijin, not just Smash, right? Right.
Yeah.
And I used to wear like a headband, dude. Did you ever see my old garb?
No, I mean, it's your avatar.
Yeah. So I used to wear that headband the Japanese headband that says like Nippon, whatever, it says Japan on it, and I would wear like that red festival shirt that people wear at festivals. You know what I'm saying? With, like the black and the red. It's like that was my thing, and I would wear that every stream for like 2 years, I think. And people still say like, "Yo, bring the headband back, dude!" Like, I had like super long hippie hair that would like drape over the headband. It was pretty comical and like pretty unique, you know. Okay. So I kind of went with that for a bit. Also, I tried to like add a story to my stream as well to keep people interested. I had like the brojo, which is like the dojo, right? So we would hang out in my brojo and just hang out and talk. I had like all this art and all these graphics and stuff. I made the character called Retroni, which I still have the mask over here. Let me grab it. This is sick.
Okay.
So sometimes I would wear this like this and like talk and like change my voice with like my voice thing and be like a demon.
Right.
So like just doing all this crazy stuff because I think what I was trying to do was like, someone notice me on this website, right? Please come and notice me. I'm doing all this crazy stuff. I made an intro video called the Reign of Retroni. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so.
Dude, it's hilarious. I filmed it out in Kamogawa. It's got like this Retroni mask, and like I was sent here. I found what is it? I found a tablet and I read it, and it like awoke him, and it turned me into Retro Gaijin. So I was like a normal person, but then I read the tablet and like got passed out, and then I woke up like with the headband on. I was like, oh, what is this? It's pretty cringy.
I'm pretty sure that's the Sekiro story, right?
Maybe. It's almost like word for word Samurai Jack.
Oh, okay.
And like Aku.
Right.
Like the inspiration over here. But Future Man, also Future Man Gaming, he's another streamer, and I like pretty much didn't completely rip it off of him, but I was very inspired by that video because he made his own character. I was like, that's what I need to do. I need to like do that to get into variety gaming. I need to make my own story. And so I kind of went with that for a bit, but it died off after like a couple months because I was like, I can't keep this up. This is ridiculous. Okay. But go on.
So I want to kind of take a couple steps backward and ask you about kind of some milestones along the way, because I think that we probably covered multiple. You said 2 years just now, so we're starting to kind of go into the future quite a bit. You said that initially you were streaming that Smash Brothers game, and were you doing it streaming every single day for initially?
I think I was, yeah. I had a lot of energy, and I was really excited to see everything like grow. So I think it was almost every day. Yeah. So with streaming on Twitch, if you're listening to this to try to like get big or whatever, some good tips is start a schedule. Yep. So I think that's what you're getting at. Like you need to get on a schedule. So it would be like this day at this time. It's like 4 p.m. Japan time. That's when I stream every day. Okay. And then maybe I take 1 or 2 days off on the weekend.
You'd end your English job, go straight back to your place, and grind, basically.
Yeah, I would wake up. I had like a part-time English job at that point. Okay. I wasn't doing the Eikaiwa anymore. I worked at the local schools. Okay. And it was right next to my apartment in this tiny little town. So I just like ride my bicycle there, teach English from 8 to noon, and then ride my bike to the beach to see if there were any waves, and then go surfing, and then come back, and then start my stream at 4.
Sounds like a nice life.
It was chill, dude. Yeah, it was cool. I quite liked it. Yeah.
Okay, so and you mentioned you made that first $40. Did you continue to get donations or subscriptions? Did that continue to happen with a pretty high frequency as you continue to stream every day for, I don't know how long that was?
Yeah. They started coming in pretty frequently because I think people enjoyed the content and they really wanted me to like continue doing it. And they all knew I had an English job too, but they're like, dude, if you go full time, that'd be awesome. So like, we're going to support you to try and help you go full time.
So did your income from Twitch subscriptions and donations then eclipse your English teaching income pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think it took like a year or two.
Okay.
But I wasn't really making that much money teaching 4 hours of English a day, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's...
But like my apartment was super cheap, and I was just kind of like living that beach bum life, and I didn't really care about money, to be honest.
Okay.
And like all the money just went like to my American PayPal, so like I never even saw the money. It just sat there.
Okay. So
and
you
just like
saved?
started saving in America, and then I just lived off of my 4 hours a day teaching salary, you know?
Okay, interesting. You mentioned buying a capture card. I imagine that when you made that purchase, you were also thinking about using Twitch as a viable job, and thinking, okay,
sure.
there's a future in this. So, what are some of the key kind of? I guess the larger question is, at what point did you decide, okay, I'm no longer doing my normal job and this and living off the two of them. I'm going to try and make this happen.
Unfortunately, it wasn't until because I need a visa, right?
Yeah.
So I was teaching English the whole time that I was streaming as well.
So after a year or so, you were already making more money on Twitch, but you essentially kept teaching English just to keep the visa?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And you did that for 3 or 4 years?
5, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
It wasn't even until Tokyo, because I was still teaching English when I moved to Tokyo, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I had a teaching job there for the visa. Yeah.
And what were your hours like? Did you continue to just basically do part-time, like 5 times a week, 8 to 12?
Yes. Yeah, I tried to go for the part-time route, which does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And in like certain, you can find it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need like part-time ALT, 8 to noon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was getting kind of irritated because my Twitch income had fully eclipsed the money I was making on just teaching English. Mm-hmm. And so my English job, I started kind of like resenting it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why am I here? I'm just wasting my time when I could be focusing fully on Twitch right now, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I had to guys, I know we have 1,500 viewers, but I got to go to bed because I got to wake up and get on the train to go teach English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, wow, I guess I'm just a little bit surprised. Did you ever try within those 4 or 5 years? Well, obviously it happened at the end because you're where you are right now, and we'll get into this in a little bit. But did you try multiple times during those 4 or 5 years to try and change your visa or get a sponsor through a friend? And maybe you can talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. Things I looked into, because it just seemed impossible, to be honest. I reached out to Twitch, hey guys, can you sponsor my visa to stream in Japan? There's a Twitch Japan, right?
Right.
And then when Amazon bought them out a couple years ago, I was like, okay, now you guys have no excuse. Amazon owns you, and they own the world. So can we make this happen? And I think it's because I'm a contracted worker that it's impossible for them to sponsor a visa for me. But I really tried to swing that for a while, talking to people at Twitch. Is there any way I can just somehow get a visa to do this full time? And it just seemed impossible. So, dude, yeah, I was teaching English part time.
Yeah.
Sometimes full time. Part time. While streaming full time for 5 years.
That's interesting. I was doing the opposite. I was working at a Japanese university full-time, and then I was building my YouTube channel part-time. And then I think we actually both kind of made our online jobs, our real jobs, around the same time. I quit my main job about 1.5 years ago, I want to say. Were you?
Yeah, same.
Okay. Did you try to reach out to anyone besides Twitch?
I think I might have reached out to some lawyers or something around Tokyo. and talk to them about it, and they're just like, we don't know. What are you doing? What's Twitch? What are you talking? What are you talking about? Like it's like YouTube. They're like, yeah, but YouTube. What? I think Japan can be a little slow to catch on to these things.
Yeah.
So, in the recent years, I've heard it's gotten a little bit better because there's like an esports visa now or something.
Interesting. Well, yeah, that makes sense because one of the things I was about to mention is that I've got some friends in Tokyo. I've actually never met them because since my daughters were born, I haven't been able to visit Tokyo. But Connor and Giguk, and obviously the anime man. But I think Connor and Giguk, they both came to Japan on they got sponsored by, I believe, like a creative agency.
Maybe Tokyo Creative. I think that's a thing.
Yeah. I'm in Tokyo Creative. I don't think it's Tokyo Creative that they're in. I think it was a different company. But the point that I want to make for this part of the video is that up until maybe as little as like a year or so ago, it was extremely difficult to get a visa in any field that wasn't really like kind of an established job. But at this point, it does seem like with Tokyo Creative and with the ad agency or not ad agency, but the agency that they're in, that there are at least two agencies now where if you're already successful, whether it's at YouTube or Twitch or whatever it might be, that they'll provide you the visa in exchange for some of your clout, I guess.
Yeah. You're pretty much like paying them for a visa kind of deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure they take like a percentage of your income as like your manager or something.
Yeah. That, and I think like one of the things that Tokyo Creative does is they kind of serve as an in-between with like companies that want to advertise with people that have a lot of followers. So that's something that I've seen. Again, I'm out in Oita and I haven't been to Tokyo since my daughters were born, but I know a lot of the other people in Tokyo Creative do that. They'll get like sponsored content, and it kind of
I remember when I was like before I started my company, when I was still in Tokyo, I remember meeting the CEO, I think.
Yeah.
Meeting somebody at Tokyo Creative to see if I could join as well. But since a lot of my content was gaming, they were like, nah. And I was like, no. God.
Yeah.
So I tried to get into Tokyo Creative as well, and they said yada. And I was like, damn. That's all right, though. I get it,
Their loss.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine. Because things ended up working out for me regardless. But that was one of the avenues that I tried to go down.
Okay.
Was join Tokyo Creative. Yeah.
Well, now you did mention that there's that esports visa. Do you know anything about that?
No, I really don't. I feel like I've heard about it from someone, but I don't even know. Maybe I'm just making it up.
Maybe it could just be an urban legend or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at this point, I think it might be good to, because you said you created your company, maybe you can just very briefly talk about how you stopped teaching English and started doing what you're doing right now. Full-time Twitch.
Right. So when I moved to Okinawa, that was when it was like crunch time. I was like, okay, my English visa is running out, and I'm not teaching English right now, so I need to find something. I do not want to go back teaching English. Twitch is absolutely my full-time job at this point. It's about 5 years of grinding to get to this point. I'm like, I'm not going back to teach English.
Okay, let me stop you real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm one thing. Did you finish your English contract and then you had a couple months left with your visa? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, did I? I think I quit the job and then was still here. We might have to cut this out of the video.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I did anything illegal because when I'm still here and I have a business manager visa now, right?
Yeah.
But up until my business manager visa, I had an English teaching visa, but I wasn't teaching English. I was just streaming.
No. That's
Is that okay?
It's my understanding that I think your visa was probably like education or whatever.
Yeah. It never expired, so I never overstayed my visa.
Yeah. It's my understanding that as long as, even if you quit your job early, they don't care as long as you don't overstay your visa. They just expect you to take care of yourself.
That's exactly what happened. I had like an English teaching job in Tokyo, and I hated it again. I was like, I'm done. This is like teaching in Tokyo and teaching in the countryside of Chiba are way different beasts, man. It was like a really cold, like here's another foreigner coming through. But in Chiba, it was like, oh, Chris Sensei, we love you, and you're a part of our community. I'd see the kids at the grocery store all the time. It was awesome. So I think I did like 3 or 4 months of my contract, and then I put in my 2 weeks. But my visa was still like for another year or something.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And during that time, I moved to Okinawa. And then like, okay, I've got like 3 months left on this visa. What are my options? What am I going to do here? What am I going to do? And then I started.
Oh, sorry. I was going to clarify. You were in a relationship at the time, and you went to Okinawa because of the relationship and not because specifically you thought there would be opportunities to create a work visa in Okinawa. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of like forced into this because I was going to get married to a Japanese person. And then after that, I assumed, okay, this is a nice future for us. We'll be set. I'll be doing Twitch full time, take care of our family with income, and have a marriage visa, whatever. It was all lining up pretty well. And then moved to Okinawa. It ended terribly. And then I was like, okay, I'm here alone in Okinawa. My visa's running out in like 3 months, my English visa. What am I going to do? And that was when I made the decision, like, okay, let's try to do like a big boy play here. Let's see what we can do. It's time to make a big boy play.
Yeah, the reason that I asked the question is because most people probably know that there's a very large American presence in Okinawa, so they might have been thinking, I wonder if he went to Okinawa specifically because he knew there was like maybe like this, again, like a lawyer or something that could set up a company for him, but you did all that searching after you made the move.
Oh, yeah, Dogen, I don't plan for anything, dude. Don't act like anything is premeditated in my life. Like, no, I just like stumble through from one experience to the next. And I'm like, how do I get myself out of this? Like, oh, God.
Well, wait till you have kids because that's every single day.
Yeah?
Oh, gosh.
Sounds fun.
Well, yeah, that's a different topic. Why don't you talk about how you made your company then? Yeah,
so I think I was reaching out to people around Okinawa to see if there was like any business stuff that I could get into. And I met some locals here, and we were talking like, okay, I have this Twitch channel. Maybe you can like give me a visa and I can advertise for your game company in Japan or something, and somehow a visa. Nothing was really sticking. And I met this guy in Okinawa named Mike, and Mike introduced me to, because Mike owns a company here, and he's a foreigner. And I was like, oh, how does that go, man? He's like, oh, well, let me introduce you to this guy. And the guy he introduced me to is the tax visa guy. He's got like an actual name, but I just call him the tax visa guy because that's what it says on his company card and his company. And he's totally legit. He's just like, if you're gonna start a company, you just need to bring over this much money and put it into the company. And then pay me this amount of money for startup stuff, and I take care of all the paperwork. And then from then on, you pay me this much a month to take care of the income taxes, right? And I was like, is this possible? And he's like, yeah.
Okay, so the deal was basically you give him this much money, he creates a company in your name, and then with that company, that's enough to change your visa into whatever you have, right? What is the state of your visa? Is it like...
It says business manager.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. You manage your own channel, so...
Yeah. So I explained my situation to him, and he goes, yeah, if you bring over this much money to start up the company and then pay me this whatever, And then I need this from you, this from you, this from you, this from you. I need all these paperwork.
Yep.
And let me go to the visa office with you. And he took me to the visa office, and we're filling out all this stuff. And then like a month or two later, he like calls me. He's like, Chris, it's all good. Like everything went through, and your visa's like, come pick it up soon. Here's your stamps for your company. I got all my little company stamps and stuff. I was like, this is awesome. So, yeah.
Sweet. And you've been happy with that decision since then?
For sure, because I can finally stream full time and just put 100% into content creating, or just like
whatever you
experiencing life. And I don't have to worry about visa stuff anymore. It's been like a nightmare for 5 or 6 years. I feel like people who are watching who have like, how do you deal with the visa stuff? It's like, dude, it's going to be a nightmare. Like, you have to understand that at the beginning. You're probably going to stumble along the way. And I don't know if there's like any 100% right answer for it.
The default answer that I used to give, it's changed multiple times. It used to be, come to Japan on the JET program or teaching English or whatever. And then from there, after that, go into a normal Japanese company. So this is like before YouTube and all those options were possible, because a normal company was the only way to feed yourself.
Right.
But since then, it's changed into go to Japan, maybe try and go to Japan not through the JET program, but as an exchange student, and like try and meet an influential person in your community that maybe like owns a business or something, and like get them to sign off such that you're an employee at their business, and maybe you're doing something for them, but it's more of like the relationship that is the reason that they're willing to do that thing for you. So I kind of had a similar situation where I was teaching English part-time in Beppu for about a year. This was after I quit the JET program, and I left Japan once, and then I came back. And I was only teaching English, I think 2 times a week for like 3 hours each time, and I was living off of my savings. But this entire time, I was basically grinding to try and make YouTube and stuff a thing. And eventually that changed into my job at APU, because I was running out of money, and I met my wife, and we wanted to get married, and I needed like a proper job, and YouTube wasn't cutting it, or wasn't making the cut just yet. So that's that was the second thing I recommended. But now what I recommend is what we talked about earlier, which is become successful and competent and influential, or whatever term you want to use. Get good at this particular thing. If what we're talking about again is like Twitch or YouTube, or some kind of online endeavor, is probably the best way to describe it, and then just get like an agency or something to sponsor you. That's I think the best option.
It is good advice, but I feel like that's so unreachable for so many people out there. Like how many people watching have a successful YouTube channel, or is a pretty like influential person on the internet. Maybe one person watching this, right? So
I don't know. Maybe I think this would be actually interesting, an interesting topic, because I went into YouTube with the mindset, I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
And with you, it sounds like you started doing the Twitch, and you were surprised with the growth, and that's the reason that you continue to do it. But when you initially started it, you weren't trying to make it your full-time job or whatever.
No, I was just messing around. I thought, and I think that's the going into content creating. If you go in with the mindset of I'm going to make a lot of money, that's a really bad mindset to go into it with, right?
Yeah. I'm not talking about the money, so to speak. I'm talking more about the money is one element, certainly, but I'm going to become successful and kind of competent at this.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have. Yeah, and your own definitions of success change from person to person. Maybe they just want a couple viewers, but yeah, for me at the beginning, it was not I'm going to start a family with my Twitch income, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right now, I'm at the point where I can.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, that definitely wasn't the pull. Nor was it even like a passion to get a visa through the Twitch thing. I think after maybe like a year or two of doing it, I was like, okay, now I'm making more money than my English job. It wasn't the point at the beginning. I just wanted to grow and be someone on Twitch.
Okay.
Right? I wanted to be someone in the internet scene. Which I think a lot of people, that's when they're starting out, they just want to they want to get noticed. They want people to appreciate their content. I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, I do think that there was kind of like two subconscious Dogens living inside of me. And one was, I'm going to become a writer. And I'm going to become a novelist and do this full time.
I really want to see like a little demon Dogen and a little angel Dogen on my shoulder. Yeah.
But the writing didn't work out. And so I thought, okay, well, instead of like just trying to sell books, I can do these scripts that I've written on YouTube, and maybe I can make that happen. And I want to make that happen full time. But then the other Dogen was saying, that'll never happen, because it's like what you said, it's so difficult to become super successful, not super successful, but successful enough on the internet to provide for yourself just through that source of income. So what you're going to go for instead is what you've just described, which is I want to get to a position where people enjoy my writing and the videos that I make. And this is kind of another thing that I do on top of this normal job that I have. So again, it was like those two kind of mindsets that I had. But then I also kind of, I've never made a lot of money off of YouTube. It's always been off of the Patreon series that I do. And I've tried to set that up in a way such that I am able to make a living off of it. But we're both at a point now where we're doing this full time. So maybe at this point we can talk more about what you think people that would be interested in making Twitch their full-time source of income, or their job, what you think would be the best options for them. Because I know that there's going to be some people in the audience that are of the mindset, I am going to make this happen. So I want as much information as possible about how to succeed at this particular thing. So this is when I'd like to give you an opportunity to say, do this, don't do that, don't waste money on this, buy this because it's essential.
Sure. I think you should start simple and then upgrade your stream accordingly as you grow. That's what I did, and it worked out really well. Like, I just bought a new camera, this camera that you see right now, really nice quality. I just got this last year.
Yeah, I remember when you bought that.
Year 5 into the career, right? Logitech, the C920 camera, good camera to start with. Blue Yeti microphone, good microphone to start with. Those two things are great. Get an Elgato HD60 to record your gameplay. So this is all going to total up to like $400, $500 maybe. These are good things to start with. I have a 2 PC setup now. One PC streams my game, the other PC captures it and uploads it to the internet. You don't need that to start, right? Are these like hardware questions or more like what to stream?
There's hardware as well, but one of the other things that I'd like to get into is you go to the gym very often, and you also surf.
Thanks, bro. Oh.
I like the games.
Not often. I mean, I've been slacking recently, but yeah.
I think that potentially a lot of people, and I don't know if you're like super conscious of this or not, but I think a lot of people that want to make this, I don't know, maybe this is just my narrow view of this particular area, but when I was into gaming only, and I was like, I'm not going to exercise. I don't care about that. That's a waste of time. And are you very conscious of things like your diet and like your mental health and like going to the gym and staying active and like keeping like a daily schedule of like when you go to bed and stuff like this? Because one of the things that I've found doing this full time is that when you're your own boss, it can be easy to slack off. And then what happens is something comes up that you were never expecting, and that is the thing that ends up making a big dent in your career. So what I mean by that is like I got when I was grinding on YouTube and doing my full-time job at APU, I was essentially sitting at my desk all day working, not exercising, and then I would go home and then I would just script videos and write videos until nighttime, and then I would go to bed. And after like a year and a half of doing this, I got I forget what you call it in English. It's a herniated disc in your back. And
wow,
like, yeah, ever since, it's just because I was sitting too much and I wasn't like doing like crunches. My core had gotten really weak, and that has been something that's never really recovered. And basically, I've got a lot of back pain right now, and I could have so easily avoided that if I had taken care of myself. So again, going back to the original question, are there things that you've learned that you didn't think were kind of like variables that you needed to think about, but now that you do them constantly because it's like, okay, I got to get this done in order for the rest of my life to be balanced and to be stable, I guess?
Yeah, I think, and this goes to like everyone, I think this is like part of everyone's job in life, like finding that balance. Mm-hmm. Mental health is very important. Making sure that I take a break from streaming. Mm-hmm. So I know some people who stream every day. That blows my mind, dude. For 5 years, I've always taken Saturday and Sunday off. It's like a normal job, right?
Yeah.
And that's so huge, especially on the internet. And I know like that could make or break some people. Like I've heard people like, oh, you're going to take 2 weeks off, dude? Like that can be tough to recover from, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, would you rather me like go crazy and like
exactly?
Make
yeah, this
content,
is the point that
right?
this is the point that I'm going at. At what point did you make the decision to start taking days off? Because you said at the beginning you were grinding every day.
I was grinding every day, yeah, at the beginning, and then I was like, okay, I think it's time to pump the brakes here.
Yeah.
When you're new to making content and you see the numbers go up and you're like, oh yeah, dude, let's go. You're like super motivated.
Yeah, it's addicting.
Burnout is a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been burnt out, Dogen, of content creating?
Well,
you seem to have a better like balance than I do, for sure.
Yeah, well, the thing with my situation is that I have so little time to work to begin with. It's not really ever been an issue because as soon as I quit, sorry, Siri just kicked in. As soon as I quit my job at APU, like immediately my twin daughters were born. And I'm basically like a stay-at-home dad at this point. So the amount of time I have to work each day on YouTube and Patreon and Yahoo and the various things that I do to produce income is very limited. So I've never really been in a situation where it's like I have the opportunity to relax instead of working, so to speak.
Damn, dude. You need a vacay.
I mean, that's what happens when you're a dad. It's just life. But I imagine that if I had as much time as you do, this would certainly be something that I'd have to grapple with.
Yeah, I think I get like, because especially since I went full time, sometimes you can kind of just like get in your own head. You don't have enough distractions around you to like take you away from
exactly,
Twitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like if I'm living alone, it's like, okay, I'm living alone. I wake up alone, right? And I have nothing to do today, right? Like if I wanted to, I could do nothing for the next 3 months.
Yes.
I'd probably go crazy. Mm-hmm. So like you do have to find this like self-motivating thing. I really like Twitch. It's really fun, especially recently. I think mixing it up is huge. The people on Twitch who play the same game every day, I don't know how they do it. Like the Fortnite streamers and stuff, I don't know how they do it, dude. Maybe they're just hardwired a different way. But for me, it's like, okay, a new game is a new experience for all of us, right? Like, there's nothing I love more than picking up like some $5 indie game on Steam, and it turns out to be like rocking. It's super fun to stream. These like mixing things up is very important for me. If I get burnt out on gaming, I have this option to do IRL streaming.
Yeah,
which is what I've been doing right now for like 2 weeks.
That and also like the painting and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I painted those.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there when you did one of those. Okay, so
it was Bob Ross, yeah. But yeah, I guess it just depends on the person to get your own schedule down, right?
Yeah.
And
I guess
this goes beyond streaming. I think this is like just for everyone in their daily life, right? As we grow older.
Yeah, I guess one of the points that I want to make is that I think a lot of people that do want to get into streaming, they want to do Twitch or YouTube or again, whatever it is, they often have to do it while working another job. You had to do that. I had to do that. And so I guess hindsight 2020, but don't hurt yourself overworking because that'll just make things harder for yourself going forward. So yeah, definitely think about the work-life balance. And
yeah, mental health is huge, especially on Twitch. Like, bad stuff has happened recently, and I think a lot of it can be avoided by like taking time away from Twitch, taking time away from the internet. I love having friends here in Okinawa who have no idea what I do, right? They're like we don't even. Maybe we'll bring it up, but there's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, thank God. Surrounding yourself with like people who love you is super important as well. And taking time for yourself. I've been getting better at realizing when I'm getting kind of burnt out. And for me, if like I don't stream, then I don't make money, right? But it's like, what's more important, this paycheck or my mental health, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna take some time off when I need it.
Yeah.
I think everyone should do that for sure if you feel the need.
Yeah,
take some time
I think
off.
that's
like
very mature advice. That's, I think, difficult, especially for people that are starting to see growth.
Yeah, it can be really tough. You see it going like this.
Yeah.
But you're getting kind of exhausted and you're getting kind of burnt out a little bit, but it just keeps going.
Yeah, that's a formula for disaster.
Yeah, man, you got to take a break. You got to take a break, man. Unless you don't have to, but I'm sure those people exist. I'm kind of lazy, so I like taking time off and doing my own thing.
Okay.
But I think recently I've gotten to the mindset of like, okay, been doing this for a long time. I think Twitch and YouTube are a little bit different in terms of how you make the content. Because when I'm live, I can't stop talking for like 7 or 8 hours. If I stop talking, people leave. I think YouTube, it's like, I'm sure you like record for like an hour or two, and then it's editing. Yeah. So it's pretty exhausting doing the Twitch thing. Because you have to constantly like be on. You got to be on for like 7 hours.
Yeah. I've done a little bit of Twitch, and this is again is for the audience specifically that would want to get into Twitch.
Yeah, how is your experience like as a YouTuber doing Twitch? Because I don't know anything about YouTube. I've only done Twitch.
Right. Well,
how is that? You hate it.
The thing is, the dynamic is just completely different from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I've said multiple times on my channel and in unscripted videos like this is like the only way that I can be successful on YouTube is if I have time to sort my ideas out through writing. Like I'm not smart enough to make this interesting enough for a lot of people to watch. Like everyone that's watching this right now isn't watching this because they're here to see Dogen's impromptu content. They're here because they've seen the jokes that I've written when I've taken the time to like leverage the little brain power that I do have. So when I went over to Twitch and it's like, it's all live.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, whoa, like this is hard. Like I'm not a witty person. Like I can only be witty if I have time. So, well, there was that element of it, but I think there's other things that you can do on Twitch. Like I thought about like teaching Japanese, like doing like Japanese classes on Twitch. I think a lot of people would be interested in that, and that's not something I'd have to tell like a lot of jokes with, right? But they'd just be there for like the knowledge and the rules and stuff. But I haven't had time for that. But one of the things that I found about Twitch, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is that I certainly see video games as a form of art. And oftentimes when I'm playing a game on Twitch, I don't want to have to worry about what you've just described in kind of entertaining the audience. Like, I recently played the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
And the original Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. And it's one of the only 2 video games I've ever played where I thought this made a significant positive impact on my life. Like the music, I still love the music. I learned to play a lot of the songs on the piano and stuff like that. But there were multiple times when I was streaming that game where I was like, okay, I don't want to talk about this. I just want to get as much as I can by absorbing this. So how do you do that? Is it like something that you have to get used to?
I don't think I really play games anymore. I just like crush them. Like that can happen. So the way I stream is like if there's a cutscene going on, for me to really like the audience, just absorb it.
Yeah.
I just turn my camera off and I let the cutscene play. And I try not to say anything unless I'm kind of a smart ass, so maybe I'll make a little joke here and there while I'm watching. Like, but I'm mostly just that's how I enjoy it as well. Like Final Fantasy Remake, it was like freaking out the whole time because it was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
The ending, that whole last like hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever was like, this is sick. And a lot of it was me just watching it and absorbing it because I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time, the original, like a year or 2 ago on stream.
Oh, okay.
But I still like you're saying, the impact that it had on you. I think it had the same impact on me for sure, even though I was talking the whole time. But
okay, interesting.
Yeah, I still felt like because I remember at the end of it, I was like, that was one of the best games I've ever played in my life, easily. That was so good.
Yeah, it's like watching like a great movie that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So
I can still appreciate the art, and I just try not to talk so much during cutscenes so that I can absorb it.
Okay.
You know?
Interesting. Yeah, I guess.
And
maybe
some
that's
games are easier to stream than other games for sure.
Yeah. I guess for me personally, it's difficult for me to try and keep the audience entertained while also trying to get as much as I can out of the game. But I think for person to person, that's a little bit different.
I think so. Like I know Man vs. Game is a really he's an OG streamer, right?
Yeah.
And I remember him tweeting like a year or 2 ago, like Dark Souls 3 came out or something, and people were like, "We can't wait for you to stream Dark Souls 3. Like you're our favorite Dark Souls streamer." And he tweeted, he's like, "Guys, I'm not going to stream this game. I'm just going to play it on my own."
Exactly. Yeah.
And everyone was like, "No!" But he's like, "This is something that means a lot to me, and I want to experience this for the first time, not on broadcast, right? And just soak it all in." Yeah. So
that's exactly.
There's definitely
what
something to be
me.
said for playing it offline. Like you said, and just absorbing it.
Yeah, what I ended up having to do was I streamed like the initial like 4 or 5 hours because kind of the stars aligned, and like my mother-in-law, she was coming over. She had a lot of time at that point, so she was coming over, and I had time to do that in addition to the YouTube stuff that I was doing. And we've got the babysitter who's here right now, but then she had to stop coming, so I didn't have time to do Twitch because Twitch has always been an additional thing that I do on top of. It's like something that I do if I have the time at that point in time, right?
Right.
But I no longer have the time to do that.
You don't have like a schedule for Twitch, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
So what I ended up doing is I've got an exercise bike right here. It's off camera. I try and ride my exercise bike for like 30 minutes or so either every day or every other day, just so I don't go crazy, get the proper endorphins and stuff like that. But it's got like a desk on it too. It's like one of these like productivity bikes or whatever. So I played the rest of the game while doing my daily or my nightly like exercise. So, and that was actually, I forgot I was exercising because I enjoy the game so much.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
The healthy gamer. Yeah.
Yeah, God, I love that game so much. I can't wait for the next like episode to come out,
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to
get... Yeah, we can talk about games if you want. Like, we could do a little podcast of, like, these games that come out. I would love to talk about it. Because I've played, like, every game ever made at this point, I think.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've always been, like... I've always found interesting because, obviously, I follow you on Twitter, and I regularly see you, like, posting, like, playing through this game blind. And it's like, oh... I wanted to play that. I wonder what that's like. So maybe sometimes I'll stop into your stream and like watch for a few minutes and try and get what I can out of that. Again, right now it's like I got my daughters running around constantly, so I can't do that terribly often. But that I've always been interested in going back and playing those games that I wanted to play but never had a chance to. So it's like Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro. Neo. I want to play all these games. I've heard great things about all of them, but I don't have time currently. So probably in the future once my girls start going to school. But
I'd highly recommend Sekiro. Sekiro's amazing.
Really?
Very good.
Yeah. Well, From Software, I was really into the original Tenchu games.
Yeah, I saw you streaming those quite a bit.
Yeah. That was like. I wanted to beat that game, so that was the first game that I streamed ever. But,
those are games I've actually never played. Would you recommend me streaming those? Because I went on a kind of a classic kick. I went through like Tomb Raider 1 on the PlayStation 1 and streamed it, and it went over really well.
Yes,
is that a game you think you would recommend?
Yeah, there's a ton of games in the franchise, but I think my understanding that the best one, and I've played up in all the Tenchu games up until that game, is the game that I played, which is it's PS2. It's Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. That's a great game.
I might have to check that out. That might be
a lot of fun.
I'll add that to my list of games to stream during a game drought.
Okay. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It's really good. Okay. So,
along what you said with the blind thing, this is like advice for Twitch people, I guess.
Yeah.
If people like your personality and they like you as a person, right, they'll probably watch you play anything. As long as you're having fun and you're like genuinely enjoying yourself and enjoying your time. So what I ended up doing is like blind playthroughs of games is huge. Like probably my best streams are playing through a game
I see what you're saying
that
now.
People loved that I missed out on.
Genuine reactions.
And getting genuine reactions, and like they're like, I remember the first time I played this, man. Like, this is so cool to watch you play this. Also, new games are cool too, right? Like a new game that comes out, that's always good to stream. But maybe you might get crushed by the viewership of the bigger people. But,
Right.
Yeah, like blind playthroughs. I went on this. I didn't have a PS2 growing up, so there's like every PS2 game ever I missed out on, right?
Yep.
So last year or 2 years ago, we did like a Metal Gear Solid playthrough. It was like Metal Gear Solid 1, like on the PS1.
I watched some of those, yeah.
And then 2 and 3 and 4, and it was just like, what a blast, dude. Everyone loved it. They're like, dude, you've never played Metal Gear? I was like, Colonel, no, I haven't. I'm sorry. And just like had so much fun.
Yeah, those are
did that
also
again
games.
with the Devil May Cry series as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, like people loved to sit through and watch those, and that I love those the most. Those are probably my favorite things to do. Is like these beloved game series that I've never played, like Final Fantasy X. We did a Final Fantasy X stream, and it was amazing, and I loved it the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good advice, because I think a lot of people that do Twitch, I don't know, if you've done a lot of research, maybe you would know this, but it's not good to do the new games and compete with the people, like the big boys, like what you said.
Yeah. I try to find niche stuff. Like I scour Steam for weird indie games. Like I said, like when I find like a $5, $10 indie game that's like, it's got some good story to it and is fun to play. Like I love when that happens. Horror games are also really, really good. Whenever I do a horror game stream, people love that. But I've played every horror game ever made at this point, I think. We've crushed them all. So I would recommend, like, try to find your niche. Play indie games or a game that has a pretty niche following. If you like speed running, maybe speed running a popular game would be fun. Like Super Mario 64 is a really classic one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would recommend jumping into the big AAA titles because the big boys are playing those, and Twitch ranks who you see by their viewership. And when there's 15 people that all have over 1,000 viewers, then you're going to get crushed way down to the bottom, and they have to scroll real far down to find you.
Okay.
So
this is one of the things that I wanted to kind of get into. And actually, I don't know if you've had experience doing this, because it sounds like your kind of introduction into Twitch was so unique with that kind of explosive growth initially. But I wanted to ask you kind of about methods for growth and exposure for people that want to do Twitch specifically. Like, I know a lot of people, for example, they'll do YouTube to grow their audience and then direct their audience to Twitch.
Right. I feel like it's all luck, dude, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like you got to be super lucky. You got to be playing the right game at the right time. Some people think like networking is a good way to do it. But making fake friends with people just to get exposure doesn't sound like a good idea to me.
Yeah, I've had a lot of experiences with that. Just kind of growing the small audience that I've made on YouTube and Twitter. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, there's a fine line between friend and someone who's just using you. You know, I don't know. I try to stay away from stuff like that, but like the friends that I have made, like I said, I went to my buddy's wedding. You know, like I've made friends on Twitch, and we would like host each other up. This is like way early on, and we became friends naturally through that, I think. And I've never ever wanted to like use them for anything. I just liked them. It is good to get some other Twitch friends who are streaming, I suppose. Yes, that is good. Make sure it's like a natural growth, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't just like slide into people's DMs like, "Hey," like
give me a shout out.
It's a
on
really
Twitter.
weird line to walk.
Yeah.
On the internet when you're trying to like collaborate with people or something.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that we never had to deal with that, because we do completely different things, and we both, just. I remember seeing that video of you when you initially moved to Okinawa, and I was like, this dude is so funny. I got to follow him.
Which one? What was it?
It was the one when you first moved into Okinawa, and you did the apartment tour, and I think you had already met Joey or something. So like Joey, I think, liked the video, or maybe Rachel and June had liked the video. So it showed up on my feed, even though I didn't know anything about you at this point. And you were like, you were at like that awesome spot where it's like, okay, finally, no more English teaching. I'm doing this full time. I moved out. I just got this new place. I'm with this girl, and you were like going through the apartment, like singing, like, this is the toilet, this is the balcony. And I was just like, this energy that this dude is like giving off. It's so good and like so pure. So that's how. Yeah, that's how that was my exposure to you, basically. So
okay. And
then I remember I donated to your stream. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I do, because I remember being like, is that the real Dogen?
Yeah.
I was like, what was that?
Yeah, you were like, Dogen, thank you. And then like a minute later, you were like, Dogen? Because you had been following me, and I didn't know that you were following me because I just didn't know who you were. So I was like, well, if this guy's following me and I go to his stream and donate, he'd probably be happy.
I was super happy, dude.
Yeah,
I think
like a minute.
Maybe like a month or two before, I had found one of your videos. Like it's just a joke. Some joke one. What's your number one joke one? What was it?
Nihongo Joel's something about that.
Yeah, I think it was that. And I was like, this is so funny. Oh my God, I'm loving this, dude. It's just a funny sense of humor that like only foreigners get in Japan.
Yeah,
like you gotta be here to get it. That cracked me up. And I think I started following you then. Yeah. It's funny because like I've never met Rachel and June. I didn't think they knew I existed, but they like my stuff quite often. And I'm like, oh, I'm a huge fan. Like I knew you from like 8 years ago or something, right? Like I think before I even moved to Japan, I had watched some of their stuff.
Yeah,
I met Joey naturally through Peach Milky. Sophie?
Right, yeah. Sophie, is that it? Sophia? Sophie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's actually, I think this kind of brings me to, I think, a good point that I'd like to stress, which is also similar to something that you've just mentioned in terms of like networking, which is that if you do try and use people for growth, you soil that relationship to begin with. And if you do have the potential to become a full-time YouTuber or Twitch or whatever it is, and people will follow you organically, even if they're way bigger than you are. Mm-hmm. So it's important in Japan specifically, again, and the people that are watching this are probably interested in moving to Japan or working in Japan or something along those lines. The point that I want to make is that the community of kind of like creators in Japan it's rather small and connected. So it's good to concentrate on your content and make that as the absolute best that it can be. And people will recognize that. And that's the way to get on to make friends rather than asking them directly for a favor.
Yeah, if your content is good enough and is entertaining, it will naturally these connections will be made naturally, I think. Because they'll find your so just make sure you're making your content as good as possible so that it will just spread naturally because it's good. Mm-hmm. And then people will see it and then naturally form friendships.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. That might have been a stupid thing to say on my part because it's kind of like common knowledge, but it is, again, when you are starting out, it's easy to think that like I'll never make it. I need this one favor, you know.
Oh yeah. I've never done that. No, wait, that's not true. I got banned in Zero's chat when I first started streaming. I didn't know the etiquette. Mm-hmm. Right? And I remember Zero is like the biggest Smash Brothers player in the world. Mm-hmm. His name is Zero, and he was streaming on Twitch. And I said in his chat, I was like, "Hey guys, I'll be playing this later on my stream." And I put my link in there, and like immediately got banned. I was like, "What'd I do?" But obviously, that's like the worst thing you could ever do, right?
Right.
But I was just like, I was a nobody, and I was like, "Oh well," and then I actually like met with Zero when I had actually became somebody. Mm-hmm. I met him like 2 or 3 years later. Mm-hmm. Just through he like needed my help with something on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And at that point I was at the size where he would contact me and be like, "Chris, Retro, can I do something here?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I gotta like type in your chat and I'm banned because I did this like 3 years ago, bro. I'm so sorry, dude." I didn't know any better, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I did the exact same thing actually. Well, the instance that I want to talk about is, Aki Dearest, obviously.
Yeah.
Super popular, amazing anime YouTuber, and the anime man Joey. I've never met Aki, which is why I'm kind of addressing Joey as well. But she's dating Joey.
Joey and Aki came to my apartment last year, and we made takoyaki.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw the video.
They were visiting Okinawa. It was sweet, and then we played some Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
they're good people. Yeah,
but I did the same thing. I don't even know if she knows this, but because I talk with her now on Twitter. I don't know, fairly regularly about just like life in Japan, stuff like that. But way back in the day when I had like 1,000 subs, she made a video that was like a Japanese lesson for anime or whatever. It was like common anime terms, and it was like this great video. Really funny, and I commented on that video and I said something along the lines of, like what you said, like, "Oh, this is great, fun video. I also happen to make YouTube videos about like life in Japan or like comedic Japanese lessons or whatever. So if you're interested, check it out, everyone, or whatever. So I don't even know if she knows this or if she ever saw it.
It's out now, dude.
Yeah,
you gotta find that comment and highlight it.
Yeah,
throw it somewhere.
I think it's still up. I also went on this YouTuber retreat way back in the day with all those guys like Joey and Chris Broad and that Andrew guy that I talked about earlier. And I remember there was this one and PDR. I don't know if you know PDR, if you've met him. Okay, well, another cool guy. He's more on the Japanese side of YouTube.
Okay.
But anyway, I remember there was this one point where I was trying to make a video every week at that point, and my channel was like extremely small compared to all their channels. But at this point, I was also trying to be conscious of not like asking for favors because I knew that that's what they were used to. So yeah. I remember none of these guys probably remember this because it's not a big deal at all to them. But there was one point where I decided that I wanted to make the video for that week, kind of just a vlog of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat my camera down and we were all just like, I don't know, talking about something. And then I remember Chris said kind of sarcastically to me, "You're just trying to put that camera down to get views by having these other popular people in the video." And then I sarcastically responded to him, "Well, it's that, and also that, I just need to make a video for this week." The sarcastic bit obviously being, "Oh yeah, it's that." But as soon as I said it, I was like, "Oh my God, do these people think that like I'm like trying to leech off of?" Yeah, exactly. So like for the rest of the trip,
right here.
Yes, for the rest of the trip, I was like,
Yeah, but I mean, no, I think you're fine. Dogen, you come off
it's not something that I worry about anymore.
I don't think that anybody cared about it. Yeah, don't worry about that.
It's not something that I worry about anymore, but it's like one of those things, again, going back to the original point, which is when you're starting out, it's easy to think that it's easy to fall into that trap because that's kind of it's easy to fall into that trap, but that's not the way to go. Learn from our experiences.
Yeah, I'd say Joey is probably the most popular YouTuber friend that I have, other than you. I know you and I know Joey.
Well, Joey's got like 10 times as many subscribers. Like, I'm not that big on YouTube, to be honest. I make enough, but to make it my job. But like, I'm not.
Yeah. Luckily, when I met Joey, I didn't know who he was. Thank God.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best way.
That was the best. And then I found out later. I was like, "Oh, what? Wow." Mm-hmm. And then I said to myself, "I'm going to make sure to never ask Joey for anything." Because I don't want to even spoil even a tiny part of our friendship.
Exactly.
And he's just my friend, and I think that's just how it should be.
Yeah, I agree. I think. I was just going to say something redundant that we've already talked about, but again, just concentrate on making the best content that you can. That's the basic point that I want to make, and people will recognize that for what it is. And
try to be genuine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And understand like the social boundaries that you may easily cross.
Right.
If you overstep even just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever asked. I don't know. I try just to do it solo. I try to make my own content and just focus on that. I don't think I've ever asked. Maybe I think Jake and Bake. Jake and Bake?
I've kind of seen him around on social media, but I've never met him or talked to him.
Oh yeah, he's my buddy, and he's huge. Especially when he lived in Tokyo here, last 2 or 3 years, he exploded on Twitch.
Yeah,
and I made sure try not to step on his toes or ask him to come and stream for viewership or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all both in Tokyo and we're both IRL streamers, right?
Yeah, I remember kind of
and gaming,
watching that on Twitter and being like, Okay, so there's actually like two big kind of like foreigner YouTube or Twitch streamers in Japan. I didn't know about that, and then I noticed that he was, like you said, he's like suddenly seemed like he was exploding and.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he absolutely did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're starting to kind of go into like a tangent about our own kind of like past experiences and the mistakes that we've made. One of the things I'd like to get back to is you live in Okinawa. Mm-hmm. Most foreigners that live in Japan, except for the military personnel that like live in the bases all throughout Japan and in Okinawa, they live in Tokyo or other, mostly Tokyo, Yokohama, Osaka, big towns, big cities. You recently moved within Okinawa, and I just wanted to kind of ask you about. Did it ever cross your mind about going to Tokyo now that you've got like this sponsorship and now that you're all set, and just your thought process? Because one of the things that I think a lot of foreigners don't realize is that what we talked about earlier in terms of like burnout and stuff like that, Tokyo, I don't recommend for people who are trying to do the online thing. And it's specifically because of, again, the burnout and like you see what's happening right now with like Corona and stuff like that. Like that's something that we don't really have to worry about as much.
Right.
Because we're kind of in the peaceful countryside, which has a lot of benefits. So, yeah.
I'm getting a little fidgety because I'm about to piss my pants. Can I go pee?
Yeah, sure. All right, sorry. So, life in Okinawa. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Versus Tokyo and content creating?
Well, yeah, just like why you decided to stay there and just general thoughts.
Yeah, Tokyo, man. I think it depends on what kind of content you want to make, because I do really like when I'm IRL streaming and just walking around with the camera, like outside. Mm-hmm. Tokyo is such an awesome spot to do that because it never ends. There's like infinite content in Tokyo. Mm-hmm. So if that's what your content's going to be, I kind of was thinking about going back to Tokyo recently before I moved, because I was like, dang, if I get back to this IRL stream and stuff, like Tokyo is where it's at, man. Like it never ends. You can take a train to a different spot every day forever.
Yep.
And the content will never end. On the flip side, you're going to be living in like a cement
concrete jungle.
Not prison, but
Yeah.
Like there is a little bit of mechanicalness to the area. Yeah. But there's also like infinite content, and I think I did like I did like 6 months every day of IRL streaming in Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And I think near the end of it started getting a little repetitive. I'm like, okay, here's the upteenth night of me walking around drinking strong zeros and Japanese people coming up to me drunk, in Shibuya on camera.
Saw some of those, yeah.
Like at first it was pretty fun. It's like, it's like literally the same encounter every time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what that's like.
So,
yeah.
Okinawa, I just recently started doing the IRL stuff here again recently, which has been pretty fun, but it is, thank God I moved where I moved now, man, or where I live now. Mm-hmm. I'm in Nishihara. Mm-hmm. Nishihara in Okinawa, and it's about 40 minutes from the nearest military base.
Oh, interesting.
And pretty far out here.
Was that a conscious decision?
What's up?
Was it a conscious decision to avoid the bases?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I was literally living next to a place called American Village.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I know that place. Yeah.
In Chitan, right? And it's like right next to a military base. I go outside and there's foreigners everywhere, and that's fine, right? But I'm like, I didn't move to Japan to experience like
to be in
Marine
America.
Corps culture, like just drunk Marines out all the time. It's like that's not where I moved to Japan, right? So I'm like, okay, I got to get back into Japan. So let me go like into the countryside here in Okinawa, and now I'm back like, oh, I'm in countryside Japan again, which is probably one of my favorite places to be. Right?
Yeah.
You love it, right? Like you're out in
Beppu. Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty out there, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely out there. There's just so many benefits to it. It's not only like less cramped and less crazy, but there's a much lower cost of living. And when you do content creation, and you're making your money on the internet, you just automatically save a lot of money just by living in the countryside. So if it doesn't bore you, then it's the economic decision.
Yeah, my rent here is like $600 maybe a month, like $650, and this place is like pretty big. There's like room. My bedroom's over there. And this place in Tokyo would be $1,300, $1,500 maybe. Yeah,
my condo that I have here in Beppu, it would have been like at least twice the cost in Tokyo, if not more. But here it's well, I can't get into details, but it's a desirable place, and I was able to afford it because it wasn't in Tokyo.
Yeah, that was honestly when I was looking to move, because I just moved here last month, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in this new area. I've only been here for a month. But during that time, I was also looking at apartments in Tokyo. And the price, I was like, nah, I don't know if I want to get back into that, man.
Okay, interesting. Oh, well, if that's kind of maybe a good segue into the last kind of thing that I wanted to ask you about, which is, and I got to go in about 20 or 15 minutes or so maybe we can do this in like 5 minutes, and then you and me can talk for an additional 5 minutes after we stop. But
sure.
I know what it's like to look at my numbers, my income numbers and stuff, doing YouTube and doing what I do. But are you in a position where you're worried about your income if you take chances and do kind of new things, and just like how comfortable are you with Twitch being your full-time job? Are you worried about the future? Do you try and diversify and do like merch and stuff like that?
I'm pretty comfortable with my income on Twitch for sure. I have a new sponsor recently as well, and they help a lot. Like these paintings you see over here, we did some painting streams, and the viewership was okay. But I think I've built my entire channel on like just taking risks, like all the time, man. I'm just like, I'll play this game. I'll do a painting stream. I'll go IRL stream.
Yeah.
And like just taking all these risks and like being like actual like a variety broadcaster. Like I played some weird games, dude.
Yeah. I remember you were watching Star Trek not too long ago.
Yeah, that was really, really fun. But that's what I'm saying. I can't be watching Star Trek every day.
Right.
On Twitch, or I probably wouldn't have a job anymore. Right.
Okay. And have you always been kind of conscious about saving money? This is something that I'm a lot more conscious of because I'm a dad, obviously. But are you pretty thrifty?
Oh, I'm very frugal, I think is the word. Yes.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Some people like to call me a cheap asshole, but I like the word frugal.
That's another way of describing it.
Yeah. I just a lot of the money that I make on Twitch, I just kind of put it away, and then I live pretty simply, like within my means. I don't have anything too fancy. I don't own a car. I own a moped that I ride around, and it's $4 to fill up. So,
interesting.
Like theoretically, I could probably stop working on Twitch and be good for like a couple of years, I guess. Because I don't like buy anything. I don't have anything like huge to buy.
Yeah, that's another good thing for up and coming content creators is save your money.
Yeah, for sure, save your money
as much as you can.
Yeah, like right now I'm just trying to like find a wife. like that's like
the
my main
correct
thing
term
right
is
now.
waifu.
Waifu. Sorry. Waifu o sagashitemasu.
All right, sweet. Well, I think that's...
Yeah, the money thing's a thing. Like, money comes in through sponsors. Money comes in through Twitch subs. Live streaming is really good for income because people see you spending money out and about. And they're like, oh, you're having dinner. Let me help you pay for dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I make a lot more money doing my IRL streams than I do gaming. But IRL streams are also more expensive because I'm actually, like, going out and spending money all the time versus, here's $20 for a game. Let me sit here and play it for 5 days straight.
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
that makes sense. Okay, well, this is probably a pretty good place to end things in the last, like, I don't know, minute or 2 minutes. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention before we go to people that, again, specifically, they'd like to become a Twitch streamer and or they'd like to come to Japan to do content creation? Because I've talked about this at length. I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be coming here to do content creation, you need to understand that you're probably going to be working an English job at the same time.
Initially, yeah. Okay.
Initially, and that's totally fine. That's what I did. You know, you gotta, what is it? You gotta pull the trigger. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
go on your adventure, man. Go on your adventure and teach English in Japan if you want to. Like, that's totally cool. And there might be avenues down the road that open up naturally through you living here.
That's a great point.
I had no idea I would be a Twitch streamer, you know, when I moved to Japan. But just naturally through teaching English and trying other things, this is my life now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, take a chance. It might suck. Just a heads up. I've also had people move to Japan, and they hate it. And I have to stress that. You have to understand. I hate to say this. Anime is not real. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Anime is not real. You got to understand, like, you're probably going to be lonely as well when you get here. Yeah. Making friends is going to be tough. When I moved to Kamogawa, I had probably one of the worst times of my entire life when I first got here in Japan. Very lonely, very isolated, no friends. Fast forward 3 years, I'm still in Kamogawa, and it was the best years of my life. Okay? So, like, you're not just going to move to Japan and instantly be happy and all your dreams are going to come true. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to get out there, put yourself out there a lot more than you might usually do.
Yep.
And hopefully it will be good. Things will be good. But you have to be careful because I'm always really nervous to tell people, come to Japan. It'll be great. Like, I really want you to understand there's a lot of risks involved.
Yeah. The advice that I always give is Japan is a great place to work your dream job, but it's a bad place to work a job that you hate, especially in a place like Tokyo, just because the working culture is pretty intense. And again, especially in a place like Tokyo. So say, like, general life in Japan, the food is amazing. It's very safe. Everything is modern. If you can do something like Twitch or YouTube, it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. I love it, but not everyone has our lives, I think, right?
Yes, yeah. It can take a long time and a lot of hardship before you get to a comfortable place in Japan. I think that's a good place to end on.
Yeah, that's good.
Sweet. Well, I think that we went on a lot of tangents and kind of talked about, like, our old past mistakes. And I think we repeated ourselves. I repeated myself at least dozens of times. And this video's pretty long, an hour and 45 minutes at this point. But I hope that some people were able to get something out of this, a different perspective, and just different advice from things that I've talked about normally. And I imagine that Retro is okay with me saying this, but one of the things that we've both been talking about is that we're thinking about actually starting a podcast separate from, my YouTube channel and his Twitch channel after my girls start going to school. So let me know your guys' thoughts about that particular idea, if you'd be interested in seeing that, because if there's enough people that would think this was fun. I liked watching this. I want to see you guys talking about more specific things, dating in Japan for an hour or whatever, the various topics that I've talked about in the past, but with this great guy who's also made it in Japan. So that's something that we'd like to do in the future once my girls start going to school. But we're just about out of time at this point. So if you're into Twitch and you like gaming, check out Retro Gaijin on Twitch, and you'll probably be seeing a lot more of him in the future. So thanks for watching, and I'll see all you guys again soon. Sayonara.